Hi everyone, and welcome to Club Live here at Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. As usual, if you can get your comments in, any questions as well, we'll try our best to answer them. Also, before we start, we've finally hit the 6,000 subscriber milestone, which I thought we might hit. I think Rangers may have helped us with some bad performances get there potentially in terms of people wanting to listen to some Rangers podcast moaning. So, yes, that's much appreciated to everyone that supported us going forward. So, and also as we've mentioned in the previous lives, in terms of Carney not being on the podcast, just for personal reasons at the moment, the live show, unfortunately, if you don't know by now, I'd like to think you do know, unfortunately has been cancelled. And I think it's Ticketmaster is working on the refunds for you. If you haven't had one, just get in touch with any of our socials and we'll get back to you in that one. But as we have said before, we will be doing another live show. So don't worry. We will be doing that soon. But yeah, I have two guests tonight. So first of all, introducing Jamie. How are you tonight in this fine weather?
Not bad. I've just been sitting out the back. It's absolutely scorching. It's scorching. So I'll be heading straight back out there with a beer in hand after we're finished, boys. Now, good to see you. Obviously, a bit of a damp squib in terms of the season's ending. But we've got a lot of stuff to be getting on and chatting about tonight. So let's go for it.
Yes, and last but not least, Mr. Haymarch, this weather's here that you can top your tan up for your next holiday adventure. You enjoying the weather?
Yes, mate, that's what I was doing.
You're used to this weather though, aren't you?
Aye, yes, I'm acclimatised to it, so hopefully it stays for a couple of weeks before I go away again. Delighted it's here because that's a long winter, boys, isn't it? It is a long winter in this country. It's horrendous. But yes, I'm looking forward to getting back out the garden, topping the tan up, and maybe have a couple of social beverages. Just a couple. Moderation is key, boys.
Yeah, it's mad when the good weather comes in Glasgow. I was driving back for work yesterday. I think it was 4 o'clock or something. And I was going past Finiston. The place was absolutely mobbed. People drinking.
See, the thing is, I don't blame folks. See, when you see it and it's like 10, 12 degrees and folk have got their taps half short. So I don't blame folk because we're so deprived of good weather in this country. So charge on is what I say.
The west of Scotland, all you're needing is 15 degrees for a taps half policy. That's that, isn't it?
That is. You qualify for taps half.
Yeah, we'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy it while it's here. But yes, unfortunately, we need to come out of the weather and talk about Rangers for everyone listening tonight. So we'll just start. I don't know if you boys were actually at the game for this one. Was the Dundee game? I know it was on Sky. Jamie, what was your thoughts on it? Obviously, the first half, Rangers, as they do, were 2-0 down, pulled it back to 2.5 time, eventually won 5-2, but I said in my post-match, it felt like a friendly / pre-season type game, the way it was played. What was your thoughts on the game? Did you watch it, first of all, and what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, Tuesday night, I was in the office, so I didn't quite make it back in time to get to the game, so I done the old seat sub for my season ticket. I had it on. I'm not going to lie, boys. I was flipping between that and the Man City game. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. But I did see the first goal go in. That's at that moment I switched back on to Sky Sports Premier League. But I mean, just calamitous defending again, wasn't it? But it's what you expect. I mean, you're saying there it felt like a pre-season game. The pace of it did, but again, like it's just shutting off, and it's the same old stuff. It's not starting games properly. And Clement nailed it in his post-match press conference, and he was pretty scathing of the players, which is good to see. But really, yeah, I mean, we were having to win the game to obviously delay the inevitable of that other mob winning the league, which has obviously put a bit of a dampener on the week. But yeah, it just in terms of the overall quality and tempo of the game, you're bang on, mate. It felt like a training game. That's what it was.
Yeah, Ryan, I don't know what your thoughts were. Rangers were 2-0 down in the game the first half. I mean, it wasn't a great place to be. I'll admit it wasn't a great place to be at Ibrox. I'd probably say there was about 30,000 at Ibrox for the game. That's me kind of guessing. But Aye, Rangers obviously go 2-0 down. It's down your pals Tav's side again. There's goals we've seen Rangers concede, but there's a cup final obviously coming up in a week on Saturday, and you'd think some of these players will be playing for positions for that cup final, but it's just continuation, Ryan, of what we've seen over the last 5-6 weeks.
Aye, no surprises that we take till get down 2-0 before we start playing or look as if we'll get any sort of energy about us. I didn't go to the game. I chose not to go to the game, as you know. I'd had enough. I was battered and bruised by that point. I thought, you know what, I'll have a night off, mental health card, whatever you want to play it. I just needed a wee bit of time away for Rangers. Watched Man City and Tottenham, kept my eye on the Rangers game, and I was texting the chat. When it went down 2-0, wasn't really surprised, Ali. A lot of these players checked out months ago, so they would have felt the backlash for the crowd, but it shouldn't take to get down 2-0 at Ibrox to do that. But you seen them in the second half, which of what I seen in the second half, it looked as if it was like handbrake off, to use the Michael Beale term, and it looked as if they were just attacking and flooding bodies forward. And I'll be honest with you, that's how easy Scottish football is. Like, against some of these teams, you can just flood bodies forward and attack, and you will get goals. I mean, lo and behold, run out your positions and you'll get chances. And that's what it looked as if they did in the second half. And I liked McCausland's goal. He didn't give the ball up. He could have just been brushed aside, but he kind of threw his body onto it and done well with that goal. Cantwell's, for me, I'll never see that as a shot, boys. No chance. There's nobody will tell me that's a shot. That's a cross all day for me. Big Dessers, Jamie's man, gets his goal as well. And aye, it's a good win at the end up for the last home game, but it's just it sums up Rangers this season, doesn't it, boys? Like when they get down 1-0 or 2-0 before they can get started. Why is that? Is it their hunger for to play for Rangers or their own club? There's just so much wrong with them, and that just epitomised Rangers' performance overall this season. But glad they got the win. Glad they delayed it for at least 24 hours, and one more game to go to get out the way with before we can close the curtain on this season, or the league season anyway.
Yeah, Jamie, I mean, the second half, to be honest, just watching it as a game of football was quite enjoyable, to be honest. I thought Rangers played some good stuff. I mean, it is a meaningless game in terms of the grand scale of where we are. I thought some of their football was good. I agree with Ryan. It was as if the handbrake was off and they were playing with a bit of freedom, to be honest. A few players I thought that kind of were a bright light in terms of the final coming up. I thought Ryan's pal, Yilmaz, I thought him on the left-hand side just offers something different. I know Clement had a slight go at him in terms of one of the first goal, I think, but I think what he brings to the Rangers team, it's night and day for Borna Barisic, the way he drives for a ball. But I thought he was very good. And Todd Cantwell, obviously, who missed out in the Old Firm game to Tom Lawrence, I thought he looked like a guy that was trying to prove a point. I thought everything went through Todd Cantwell, and that's why I gave him my man of the match. I thought he was very good, and a reason why I said he starts against Celtic a week on Saturday. I don't know what your thoughts were on those two players.
Yilmaz is if he gets fit, he's going to be one of our best players next season. If he has a good pre-season, if he plays a majority of the season, I mean, obviously we all sing his praises. He's Ryan's man, but he's everything you want in a left back. There was one, see, just before he got taken off, he sailed forward, took on about 3 or 4 guys, and smashed the ball, and it just sailed over the bar. It was almost like, mind the goal he scored against, it might have been Livy in the League Cup earlier in the season. Beale was still here, but he has that element to his game. He likes to get forward. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's leaving space there. He bombs forward. He links the play with the forward players, with the more attack-minded players. It's, as I say, it's everything we're wanting in a left back. In terms of Cantwell, I think he's obviously been given a rocket. I mean, I think between us chatting last week, we seen Cantwell starting at Parkhead. I was surprised he didn't even come on, boys. I thought it was strange that he didn't even get, when we were 2-1 behind chasing the game, that he didn't throw him on. So obviously I think there's been something said at some point between him and Clement, because Clement obviously addressed it in his post-match as well and said, that's the Todd Cantwell I want to see. So yeah, in terms of the second half performance, I watched all the second half. It was, again, it's not much of a marker because there's not much to play for. I want to see these players. I don't want to see most of these players next season because I'm hoping a lot of them leave. But next season, I want to see them perform in the games that actually matter. I want to see Todd Cantwell start in the final and shut a lot of folk up, because really the only time he's performed against Celtic was a 3-0 game. This time last season, when the season was done, it was signed, sealed, and delivered for them. So, yes, I think Yilmaz hugely important to us, brilliant our night. But as well as that, I think if we keep a hold of Cantwell, I think he's going to be as important next season if he gets his attitude right and if he kind of cracks on and just concentrates on football for once.
Yeah, Ryan, what was your? I know you're Yilmaz's number one fan, but I just thought he had a couple of slack balls at some points, Yilmaz. But I just think he's so positive the way he goes with a ball. He's a better out ball for us on the left hand side. I thought he actually linked up with Silva quite well. And obviously we've just discussed Cantwell. What was your views on those two players?
Yeah, aye. We all know what Yilmaz can give us now. We've seen him probably just about at his best. Attacking wise, he's brilliant. He's like a modern day fullback, but he's so much more the way he comes inside and links up play. I think he looks as if he looks as if he wants to shoot a goal as well. Sometimes he's direct. He's anti-Borna, if you put it that way. Probably one thing you would criticise his attacking play is his crossing could be better. And I think he gets scrutinised for that because we're so used to Borna Barisic's brilliant delivery. So I think he gets scrutinised for that a bit. But in terms of a player, if you take Ridvan over the next year or two, if he stays with us, stays fit, he'll be more than valuable for us. He's clearly going to be an asset. It's just keeping his fitness up. Defensively, he can have his moments. There's no doubt about that. We've seen it, but you're going to get that way anyway at a level. But he's still young, Yilmaz as well, so he's got that in his locker. Was he like 22 years old? So Yilmaz is just one of those ones, probably like Cantwell. You want him to get a good pre-season under his belt. If Cantwell's going to stay and Yilmaz are going to stay, you want him to get a good pre-season under their belt and then come out all guns blazing for the new season, because on their day they're both brilliant. Cantwell, for me, shows what he can do again, but this is what drives me crazy about Cantwell. Everybody knows, everybody in the chat, everybody you speak to knows Cantwell's got in his locker. But it's whether he's got the balls or whether he's got the ability to do that over a consistent period of time, because it's flashes in the pan, Ali, and flashes in the pan are what's causing us title after title, trophy after trophy. We don't have players who can consistently do it and also do it in the big games as well when we need it. And that's what you need at a club like Rangers. So, yeah, Cantwell's got that kind of game in his locker. But if he does it tomorrow or does it in the cup final, then I'll be a bit more convinced by him. I'll be a bit more convinced that he can be something for us. But just now, I'm still probably in the camp of, Cantwell can, if a bud comes in, Cantwell can go. It isn't good enough to just do it against Dundee in a meaningless game. He needs to stay. He needs a big performance, as do a lot of them. But the stage is set at the cup final. We'll obviously have that chat next week. But the stage is set for them. They need to have, so many of these players need to have a big game against that lot.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Cantwell. And there was also, and I'll stick with you, Ryan, on the bench. There was a few young boys on the bench. Lowry was on the bench. But he brought on the boy McKinnon. Could have played him at right back. Tav was at right centre half. I assume you had fear when you seen that. I actually played at right centre half. But there was one boy, Ryan, that I thought looked very bright on the left-hand side, and young Robbie Fraser. I thought he was very positive on the left-hand side, similar to Yilmaz at points, the way he went up the line there. But we've obviously played with Barisic a lot this summer and this season, and with Yilmaz injured. I'll be honest, I never really knew about Robbie Fraser. And when I seen him last night, I know it's a bit of a meaningless game, but I thought, why have we not tried this boy before? Because I thought he looked assured in the ball and bright, and he was a shining light in terms of the youth, I thought, against Dundee. I don't know what your thoughts were on.
Yeah, I thought he looked very bright, and I would say like 9 out of 10 young players are probably told to just go and express yourself. There's no pressure on you here. Like, you're just going to get minutes in your leg, enjoy the occasion. It'll be all that kind of chat that they're given by the manager, whoever it's been at the time. And he looked as if he did exactly that. He just looked as if he thought, you know what, I'm just going to play this the way I always play my own game. He didn't look as if he wanted to play the safe ball. He's expressive. He would go on runs. Like, I like the look of him, and this is where I bang the drum about youth. Like, give them a chance. I'm not saying start these players every game, but I want to see more of that. I want to see Fraser again. I don't want to see him disappear the way Devine did, because still in my eyes, anytime I seen Devine, I thought he looked a decent player, certainly a good enough squad player, and he disappeared off the face of the earth. And I don't know where he is now. I genuinely do not know where Adam Devine is now.
Well, he's at Motherwell. He's on loan at Motherwell.
Motherwell, that's right. Aye, I knew he moved on, but just one for me that just came through. Happy, right, good. We've got him as backup for Tav or some sort of squad player. I'm just never see it. So I want to see Fraser again. I don't want to see him battered out and loaned to someone else. I want to see him coming off the bench when Ridvan's maybe had his 70 minutes, or put him on the left-hand side or whatever, but he looked confident. It's always good to see a young player come through the ranks, and so did the boy on the other side as well. And if that gives us an insight into we're going to put Sterling on the right, and have this boy as a backup, I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but bring young boys through, Ali. If they're good enough to put a performance in at Ibrox like that, then they're surely worthy of a chance. And what we're terrible at is if you gave him his chance next season and he plays a couple of bad games, we write him off. You know, you're not good enough to play for Rangers. And we've done it with McCausland already. Just let him have a couple of bad games. Let him play himself out of form like other players have done, and it can all be good for him. It'll be good for his boys' confidence, and I'm hoping to see him again next season. I think did we see him last season? Or we saw one of the young boys score a goal against Hearts last season, didn't we?
McKinnon.
Was it last season or the season before? I think it was. It was last season. A couple
of seasons ago, yeah.
Aye. So I want to see them again. They're obviously matured a bit and they've got a couple of seasons under their belt. I want to see them again. I don't want to see them popped out on loan. So yeah, definitely positives in that aspect. And maybe you don't need to go out and spend money on areas of the pitch you shouldn't really, because I certainly feel as if we did that with Yilmaz when we spent £4.5 million or whatever the fee was. That wasn't the right area of the pitch to spend money on. I just didn't get that at all. So hopefully these young boys can give us a bit of depth in the squad and we can spend our money elsewhere.
Yeah, Jamie, I don't know what your thoughts were, but when we talk about the youth team and players coming through and not coming through, and we've been not bit in the last few years, but we've had players come through like your Lowry's that we thought he could be the next big thing. Went to Hearts, it just never went for him. He was injured, he's back. But I just looked at Robbie Fraser. I don't know what carried away because he's playing against Dundee in a meaningless game. I just thought he took his chance, like Ryan said. I just thought he looked at a boy that thought, I'm going to have a go here. And I just thought he looked bright. And he probably won't start against Hearts because we need to get more minutes in the legs for Yilmaz. But I'd assume he'll come on for Yilmaz as a substitute. And I just thought he showed the right application, desire that you want for these young boys coming through.
I think we've got a raft of talent in the youth team. I mean, I know like players like Lowry coming through. He was kind of thrust into the team. It was the end of season. Mind he scored at Tynecastle. I think that's the game you're talking about, Ryan. But these players, you can't big them up too much because it's going to make it even more difficult for them. I thought Fraser was really good, like you say, boys, like very attack minded. What we're wanting in a left back anyway, especially for most of these teams that are sitting deep with 10 men behind the ball. And I thought, I've just seen somebody in the chat there, I thought Cole McKinnon was really good at right back. Supposedly that's not his natural position as well. So I think it's good having these youngsters coming through. It's also good that Clement's wanting to bleed them into the first team. I heard them obviously chatting through the week about the fact that before they weren't integrated with the first team, but now he sees it as a huge remit of his to get them in there, to get them training with a lot of the first team players so they're ready when they're thrust in. So he actually seems more like he's going to give the youth setup a chance over say someone like Michael Beer, even Gio. I don't even think Gio utilised the youth players a lot. So I totally agree. I think like we've got a lot of good young players coming through. I know the boy Ufeko, he started a few pre-season games. I think he scored an absolutely terrible own goal, I think, and then he was sort of whipped. We've not seen him since. I know he makes the bench and things like that, but there's players there that we can rely on. What we need to be careful of is not overly relying on them sticking them in for the odd game and see how they fare against teams in our league, but not. I mean, I actually think McCausland's running the team that he had probably January, February was a wee bit too much, but the only reason that he was in there is because we were just totally shot with injuries. So, and then what happened was people started to view Ross McCausland as a proper first team player. He's just out of youth setup, so you can't do that. You can't view him as a proper first team player. So we need to, with bags of talent, but we need to be careful. Clement needs to be careful of when he's putting them in. I think he actually might start Fraser tomorrow and bring Yilmaz on for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour.
Some of the boys in the comments are saying that, Jamie. I didn't actually get to see Clement's press today. I just read bits from Twitter, but I think a lot of the boys in the comments there are saying that he was not fit enough to start tomorrow. So I think you might be right there.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be like that game, not last season, the season prior, when Lowry and all the young boys started. I think we won 3-0. But I think it's going to be like that tomorrow. It's going to be put them in and see how they fare in 90 minutes of football. And honestly, I don't think they'll let us down, boys. I think they're good footballers. I just think, as I say, I think the management set up and Clement himself need to keep an eye on them moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what he does with these youngsters going forward. But it was good to see them against Dundee, and like you say, I'd assume we'll see them again tomorrow as well. So it'll be interesting. But moving on for one last thing in the Dundee game. Scott Wright, come on, scored 2 goals. He must know Hampden's appearing. Scott Wright, I mean, Ryan, Scott Wright gets absolutely slaughtered by Rangers fans, right? I mean, I don't think he's good enough for Rangers, but see, bringing him on with 15, 20 minutes to go, I think he's one of the perfect players to bring on because you get pace to burn with these teams are tiring. And like I say, he must know Hampden is on the horizon, Scott Wright.
Yeah, start him. No, I'm only joking. I was pleased for Scott Wright because Scott Wright never hides. He's never, when the chips are down, he never hides. And it's a credit to him for that because I see a lot of players, senior players who do hide when the chips are down. So Scott Wright isn't good enough for Rangers where we want to be, and it's no harm to him. He tries his best, gets his goal. He's obviously scored that goal at Hampden for us, or a couple at Hampden for us. I'm kind of hoping that just increases his value a wee bit when he scores goals. I'm hoping that our team's like, we need to stick in another 250k for him. But I'm pleased for Scott Wright. I hope he gets a good move in the summer. I don't know about. I wouldn't agree if that's if you're prodding me to see whether I keep him or not. I wouldn't. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not keeping him. I'm not keeping him.
No. I do agree though. He's because he gives you something different. He's one of the few players we've got that can take the ball in the turn and run direct with it. So it gives you something different. Scott Wright, I'm pleased he got his goals because it's probably his last game at Ibrox, hopefully. And I hope he gets a good move, Ali, because he seems a nice enough guy and he's always tried his best for us. It just, like many, he's just not the level of player that we need to get where we want to be. But I was delighted to see he got his 2 goals, mate.
Yeah. Jamie, Scott Wright to score the winning goal next Saturday, is it?
Like, Scott Wright owns Hampden, doesn't he? He absolutely owns Hampden. I mean, like, I'm with you boys. He's a good squad player, isn't he, Scott Wright? But he's not going to cut the mustard for Rangers. He never has been. Like, I mean, to think that Scott Wright can now tell folk he started in a Europa League final. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just that's what dreams are made of. But no, I think I agree with Ryan. I think he'll get a good move to, I don't know, Hearts, the Hibs, or some like that. So a team within our league, or else maybe the Championship to some extent. But yeah, I can't see him being here next season anyway.
He's contracted to 2025 apparently, and I've got a list that I'm just going to come on to that players are out of contract, and he's not on it. So look, there we go then. So is that the winner in the Scottish Cup final this season and the winner in the Scottish Cup final next season at Hampden, and that's 2 good goals in it. That will take it.
But do you know what that tells me, boys? See the fact that he's contracted to 2025. That underlines even more to me. This is when to sell him. Like, sell him now while he's got a contract. Don't wait till next season. Then he talks to clubs and then he's like, sell him now. So you'll get a small fee for him, surely.
Yeah. I think you would be Scott Wright, to be honest. I know.
And he won't go to Turkey, Ali, because he's got a head of hair on him, Scott Wright.
He's got a good set of gnashers as well.
He has, mate. I won't be seeing him at the hair transplant unit. No chance.
I mean, I know, Ryan, that Scotia used to bang the drum about the Scottish players in terms of we need so many Scottish players, and he ticks the box for that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting next season. And then in terms of who comes in, I'll expect a couple of Scottish players to tick the boxes. But before we go into my favourite part of the show, which is the Manscaped promo, I just thought I'd bring up Clement will come on to this presser. He did mention the word end of a cycle, which was music to my ears. But Ryan, I've got a wee list here of players that are out of contract or are returning on loan. Leon Balogun, your favourite man, Borna Barisic, Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom, John McLaughlin, what I forgot about, Kemar Roof, who obviously we do know is away from his Instagram stories, and then the loans of Oscar Cortez, who we talked about, that looks like he's coming back, Fabio Silva, and Abdallah Sima. Out of that list there, Ryan, I assume you're letting all of them go. The loan players, is there any ones there you would potentially take back?
I'm letting them all go. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd let them all go a year ago, to be honest with you. And I'd keep Cortez. I think if we can get Cortez on a loan, I think we spoke about this on the last pod. If we can get him on a loan deal, definitely. I'm not ready to kind of splash money out on him. Sima, for me, is probably a price range. It might be one we need to let go. I wouldn't be ready to spend 4 or 5 million on him. I'll be honest with you. I know he's had a decent season. The injury thing worries me about him. I think we need to look elsewhere and where we can spend our money elsewhere, because I think he'll be a bit out of price range. But Cortez, for me, I would keep. And is that true? I think it was, I don't know if it was you or my oldest that sent me the picture of Kemar Roof was on a plane the other night. Is that right? Is that right? And we've got two games left of the season.
No, he was back at Ibrox training today on his Instagram.
Right, okay. Right, somebody sent it to me and I was like, aye, that sounds about right. He's probably called it a day already.
They've probably opened a kebab shop somewhere.
Aye. I don't hold anything against Kemar Roof. Like, I've never known a player like it with injuries, put it that way, boys. He's been unbelievable. But scored a couple of important goals, but a disaster in terms of injuries. He was a disaster. But yeah, I'd let them all go, all of them.
Yeah, Ryan. Kemar Roof is the type of guy who will come on with 5 minutes to go in the Scottish Cup final when it's one each and score the winner. That's the type of guy he is. He would do that, Kemar Roof.
Well, it need to be 3-2, Ali. It need to be 3-2 because we need to go down 2-0 first.
Probably, aye. For the first 20 minutes, I know. I can't wait until next week. Anyway, that's another show, that one. We'll get on to that next week. Jamie, those list of players, I'd assume, like myself, they're all going for you. I'm in agreement with Ryan and Sima. Mm-hmm. If he is in the 6 million plus, I don't think I'd be spending money on, because I think we need to be spending quite a bit of money on other positions. And with Cortez coming in, I wouldn't be going for him. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I mean, Sima obviously had that period at the start of the season where he was brilliant, and it all seemed to start from that goal he scored. I think it was maybe against Hibs, and then he obviously got injured at AFCON. I mean, I see likeness in Sima with if you're going to spend 5-6 million on him. I see likeness with the whole Kent thing. Obviously, we had Kent on loan, and he impressed enough to go and splash the cash and buy him from Liverpool. But I actually tend to agree with Ryan. His injury records is big time worrying me, because he came back from AFCON and Clement said it wasn't a big thing, and then literally weeks later he's still on the treatment table, isn't he? So it's I think we need to shop around, see what we can get. But yeah, I think Brighton will value him quite highly anyway. I mean, they splash quite a lot of money for him, so I don't think they'll be wanting to part with him for pocket money pretty much. So I think I can see Sima coming back, possibly on loan. I mean, I know Clement said in his press conference today that he's settled, he's happy, he likes life in Glasgow. So sometimes that's a bonus. The rest of them, it's like sometimes this sounds a little bit harsh, but it's don't let the door fucking hit your arse on the way out, pretty much. But it's as he said today, it's the end of a cycle. These are the players that we knew were out of contract. We can't be giving them new contracts. It doesn't sound like we are. So it's freeing up wages to buy in what I hope is fresh young talent. Look, Coppin's already proved that he knows how to find players, especially in Cortez. Diamande, he's a bit of an unpolished diamond for me at the moment. He has shown loads of signs of promise, but I think he'll get even better as he's bedded in. But no, for me, yeah, they're all going, mate. They're all out the door for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Brighton, whatever they're looking for, Seema will get it because someday we'll look at what he's done at Rangers and pay the money on him. So I think they'll get what they want from him. But I did see Mr. Aye, Brian.
Jamie makes a good point there about the AFCON as well. I forgot about that. So see if you take into consideration if we have to shell out £4 or £5 million for Seema, who does appear to be injury prone, and also the AFCON aspect of it as well. What kind of return are you getting in terms of games? And that's, I think Rangers need to look at that. So yeah, I forgot all about that AFCON. It was just when Jamie said it.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be the next season, Seema, if I'm being honest. But we'll need to wait and see. I did see Mr. Carney was in the comments there. I don't know if you boys seen it there. He's watching us. He did say we were steadying the ship. I thought the ship was sinking when I was in it, to be honest. We're doing our best. But
I thought we had the dinghies out. Do you know what I mean? The dinghies taking water on. We're sinking, boys. But look, see if the gaffer's saying we're doing all right, we'll take it, boys.
Yeah, we'll take it. I seen Carney. He actually came to the Dundee game for his sins, so I did see Carney. But yeah, Carney will be back in the podcast. Don't you worry. But we will look after it in his absence. But it is time for my favourite part of the podcast. It is the Manscaped promo. Our friends over at Manscaped have you covered from head to toe. With the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, this ultimate all-in-one grooming kit is set to have you looking and feeling your best in the summer sun. Trust Manscaped and unlock the confidence you need to turn heads this season. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and use Club@22 and go to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Let's make this summer your smoothest one yet. Embrace your summer bod goals with all-inclusive Performance Package 5.0. Perfect for those aiming for the crisp, clean and confident look. Keep your ears and nose as tidy as your hedges next door with our Weed Whacker 2.0. It's one of Ryan's favourites. Ear and nose hair trimmer, pesky hair be gone. Post-trim care never felt so good with a Crop Soother Ball aftershave lotion. Say goodbye to painful chafing and hello to all-day comfort. For those sunny beach days, don't leave home without the Crop Preserver anti-shaving ball deodorant. Let the sun see you shine, not sweat. Your purchase comes with the free Boxers 2.0, which are very good. I've forgotten myself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB@22 at manscaped.com. This summer sun is here to stay, as we can see outside, so trust Manscaped to keep you looking your best this summer. And thank you very much to Manscaped. As always, their products are very, very good. There you go. There's Jamie putting Carney's comment up in
it's got his message
up there, so there you go. He says he's feeling the pressure doing the Manscaped promo because he knows he's watching.
see, because you're vice captain, Ali, I just realised my annual leave requests, I can no longer send them to Carney because obviously he's out at the moment, so they'll go straight to you, Ali. So you've got a few emails to get through because I've got a few requests in for you.
I'll need to check the calendar, Ryan, and authorise them for you and see how we get on in that.
Ali, I'm sorry to say, mate, I've got 3 weeks in the Caribbean coming up as well, mate, so I'll put my holiday sheet in tomorrow.
Get it in. Don't worry. I'm away the end of September as well, so I'll be getting mine as well. So I'll sign that off now while I'm in charge. Right, anyway, enough of holidays and stuff and Ryan's umpteen holidays, but let's get on. Ryan, there was an interesting stat that came out. I think it was the Rangers Review that did it this week. I thought it was frightening when I read it, and it goes down to how bad our recruitment has been over the last 2 years. So we have signed 16 players in the 22-23 season and last summer. Only 6 of these players have played over 40% of league minutes. That is scandalous in terms of bringing players in the last 2 years. But what's your thoughts on that? And proves that our recruitment has been pretty much shocking over the last couple of years.
Aye, and it shows that. So obviously, I'll criticise the old guard a lot in terms of where Rangers are at the moment and what they're not doing and what I want them to do. There's no getting away from our signing policy has been amateurish to say the least, Ali. But there's something we're not doing right. There's something, whether it's researching these players correctly or watching them or getting a medical background. There's something we're not doing right, because that for me is not a coincidence. There's far too many now. It just seems to be every single player breaks down at the moment constantly, and it's the we spoke about this a few weeks ago. It's the recovery as well. The recovery seems to be, so the coaching staff, the medical team will tell the coaching staff when the player's due back. The coaching staff will make an assessment. They'll tell Clement, and then it gets fed back down the chain. And the manager seems to come out and say, "Oh, the player's due back in 2 weeks," and I've never known a player to come back when they say he'll be coming back. Ryan Jack, Kemar Roof, Yilmaz is one for this season. I've got to say is falling under that category. Let's hope it's kind of in the past for him. We could go on, but there's something we're not doing with our signing policy, and it's not just ability, because our signings, ability-wise, aren't great either. But in terms of return for the amount of games they play is absolutely shocking, Ali. And you see at the end of this season. I mean, I gave Clement a bit in the neck a couple of weeks ago about who he should be playing, but I think it was Nicky that made the point. His hands have been tied. He's really had nobody to choose from. You see it with the bench against that lot last week. So that needs to get so much better. I think it's a case of looking forward instead of looking back. We have to, or we'll go crazy the way I did in the text message today when Jamie was throwing line after line at me. We just need to get better at it. We need to get better at it across the board, because our signing policy has been shocking, Ali. There's nobody really there. I'm sitting there going, do you know what? We've done well there. Like Yilmaz is maybe the one of the players you'll think he's good, but then it's the injury side of him. So we need to get so much better identifying players who we're going to get return off and are going to play circa 20, 30, 40 games a season. It needs to happen next season, or we're going to be in a bigger mess.
Yeah, Jamie, I didn't think it was as bad as that. I mean, I've not really looked into it properly, to be honest, but you're not going to win league titles with players like that aren't. And it kind of shows this season when we've got to the tail end of the season. You look at our squad, with a lot of these guys have fallen. I mean, the injuries has been horrific, but 16 players over 2 seasons and only 6 have played over 40% of the league games. That's why Copman's been brought in, and I hope there is a turnover of players in the summer, and we bring guys in that are robust, as will come into the press on. Clement says to go 2-3 games in a week, whatever it is, because we need to be going. So I just thought it was a frightening start when you actually looked into it.
Like, it's not title winning fitness, that is it? It really isn't. It's that you're needing bodies, and as Clement said today, like if you're back playing 3 times a week, you're needing folk to be fit. So I just seen somebody say in the comments there about the medical departments. Paul, it's a very good point. I remember at the start of the season, a few folk tweeted saying, "Oh, the Dr. Mark Waller's back, brilliant, that's great, blah blah blah." Was it brilliant? Was it great? I think in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't really. I mean, Clement's obviously saying that he thinks he's putting more onus on the fact that pre-season basically killed us. We weren't fit enough to handle like 2 or 3 games a week in the thick of the season when you're playing Europa League, domestic cups, and the league. Which I think he's got a point. But as you say, mate, I think with the lion's share of the squad possibly leaving, you really, really hope as fans that the scouting department are doing their homework on these players are signing. I seen somebody like retweeting a player. I don't know where he was from. It's a winger of some kind, and it was one of the other. I don't know. It was. I'm not gonna lay claim to any names, but it was a player that we were linked with supposedly, and it said, "Oh, blah blah blah. This guy, he's injury prone, but here's his stats." And I just thought it sums up who we're linked with. I don't want to see us linked with injury prone players. I want to see us linked with players that have the physical capacity to last a full season, to play all the time. Look, I think a lot of folk will say that Clement's using the injuries as an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. It's a reality. You think back to Cortez obviously getting injured, and he was flying for us. And after that, it just seemed to be a bit of a domino effect in terms of the injuries. It's really scuppered us. You look at that bench last Saturday. We spoke about it in the WhatsApp. There wasn't much on it. There's not much there that can basically change that game. That game that we had to win to stay in the hunt. It wasn't a given that we were going to win the league, but to stay in the hunt for it. So you hope this time next year or next season that there's only one or two players out injured. I mean, again, we don't like talking about the other side of the city on this podcast, but it needs to be pointed out the fact that they said that Maeda he got injured, he hurt his hammy. He was back within weeks. He was back within weeks. So it seems like they need to strike a balance with the medical department and the players that we're signing to make sure they are robust enough to handle a full season playing at Rangers. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, Ryan, it's going to be interesting. So they need to box clever, Rangers, in terms of what they do. Rangers, I'd assume a lot of the guys in the comments will know this, but Rangers have the highest wage bill in Scottish football, which is shocking. There's a lot of guys on big wages. Kamara, Roof, Lundstrom, Barisic will be going in the summer. Rangers will have to reduce that wage bill. They can't just go out and use that again, spend it. They have to reduce the wage bill, financial fair play in that. But to Rangers have the biggest wage bill in Scottish football, Ryan, just shows again how we've not been clever in terms of our transfer policy and giving guys large contracts.
Will they ever learn? Like, surely the past decade has taught us something that you can't go over your budget or your margin. Or they banged the drum a good few years ago about having a structure in place, a wage structure in place, and they'll never breach it. Now, the figures, I don't know anyone's wages. I know Ryan Jack's roughly, and I know Lundstrom's. And I'm pretty sure they're accurate. Lundstrom's on circa 30 grand, which is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous money, like crazy. We cannot do that. Like, whoever sanctioned that is, I just don't. Whether that's Gerard's just said get that off line, I don't care how much. I don't know what's happened there, but that's crazy money. Absolutely crazy money to spend on somebody like John Lundstrom, he won't get championship. I don't see him getting championship. I genuinely don't. But yeah, it's something they need to look at. The club need to look at, but at the same time, they need to move forward. They can't just say, "Oh, let's cut a cloth and that's us." But they need to move forward, and this is where I'll constantly bang the drum about the Scottish market. You ain't getting players for Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, etc. on 20, 30 grand a week. You're not getting it. Miovski might seal a move elsewhere where he'll earn that kind of money, but he's certainly not on it just now. So Rangers need to, as you say, box clever, but they need to shop in the right markets, Ali. There's talent out there. That lot have proved it. To mention them again, it pains me to say it, but they've identified a market, the Japanese market, and it works for them. And fair play to them for doing it. That's where Rangers need to be clever. They need to identify a market that are those type of characters right. Have they got the right mentality to do it in Scotland? Are they not going to throw themselves about the pitch the way Silva does because you'll never last here? Do you have a winning mentality? What's your fitness record like? Right, what's the budget? What kind of wages are you on? They've got to identify a market that will work for them. And this is where Niall Coppin has got to be. He's got to be the main man this summer. He'll be the proof in the pudding whether this is going to work or not. And he'll get to say on the signings and who's coming in, but it needs to be better, Ali. I mean, the biggest wages, the biggest outgoings in Scotland, and look where we are compared to that. Look, we can't even lay a glove on them just now. I know it's only 6 points, but in terms of when we play them, it just you can see the difference in their players compared to us, Ali, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, Jamie. I mean, the prime example, Jamie, is Kamar Roof, a guy we took a gamble on, a guy we knew was injury prone, and we gave him a 4-year contract. And the amount of money he's taking out at Rangers, and it's not Kamar Roof's fault. It's a guy, he's just injury prone. But as a club, you need to be doing your homework on these players. And I just hope going forward with Cotton, and I think he will, he'll address all this because, like I say to Ryan, and I completely agree with everything Ryan said, it's been a shambles. It's been a shambles the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, Kamar Roof, for all he scored a lot of vital goals for us, and it was the age-old thing of everyone saying, well, if Kamar Roof wasn't injury-prone, he'd be playing in the Premier League. I don't really know if that's the case. I don't. I thought he was a good player, instinctive striker. He was good. He was a great finisher. Do you know when the ball fell at his feet, you knew he was going to finish. But as you say, mate, just so injury prone and frustrating, because even remember a few months ago we thought, right, well, look, Kamara's coming back in a team, see for the run-in, see if he can come and give us 6 or 7 games in the run-in and really perform. We've got a good chance of winning this league. But he didn't. He was given, I think it was Ross County. It was Ross County came on and he stunk the place out. It was absolutely terrible, man. It really, like, he genuinely did make Dezers look like Prime D9 that day. It was shocking, man. Totally shocking. So, like, I'm not really bothered about seeing the back of Kamar Roofies. If you're gonna play at Rangers, look, and as you say, it's a short sight of the board at that time, of the scouting department at that time, was giving him a 4-year deal from Anderlecht. We all thought, wow, signing Kamar Roof, because he was very well known. Obviously, he'd played at Leeds before, and we thought he's going to turn out to be a Rangers great, and he could have been if he'd have stayed fit, but he was nowhere near staying fit. The only season that we got a big return from him was the 55 season, when he obviously scored a few goals in the 4-1 game against Celtic. He scored a vital goal at home to Motherwell, which pushed us, I think, 5 or 6 points ahead of Celtic that season. But I think we just can't be doing that in the close season here. We really need to be smart in terms of, as Ryan said, in terms of who we're approaching. Do the homework on them. Are they injury prone? Do you know what I mean? They really need to delve into the finer details before we go. And if we're giving a player a 3-4 year deal, we need to know we're going to get a return for that player. So again, yeah, exciting times. Let's wait and see where we go.
Yeah, I think we're in for an exciting summer. I trust Clement at the moment, and I'd like to think before he came in, I'd like to think he's had promises from the board in terms of getting the type of guys he wants, and he's been here long enough to see these guys that are there at the moment aren't up to it. So it'll be a big summer. But coming into the presser, I'll just read a few things from Clement in terms of what he said. I actually quite liked what he said today. He said, I had really good talks with the board about what to change towards recruitment, and we are aligned. We have plans, and we now need to execute them. We are busy looking at all departments and what we can make better to improve next season. I'm really convinced that the people in the club want to step forward, work hard, and be honest about what is going wrong in the club. Everyone is really engaged to make things better. I know there are emotions now, which is normal. We are all very ambitious. We are going into pre-season that needs to be hard. We need to build physical to be able to play at a high intensity 3 times a week and avoid so many injuries. Music to my ears. We need to start pre-season strong ahead of the qualifiers in the league. There are players who have played almost every game. There are individual cases. It is clear with the level of injuries, we need to break the cycle to make the squad more strong. We want a team that can compete all the time. And then at the last bit, he talked about players, but the last wee bit that he said was, there will be changes. We need changes. I think we're at the end of a cycle as a club. We need to change something, and I want to end this cycle with a really big moment next Saturday at Hampden. Ryan, that's the first time I've heard Clement come out publicly and say, basically, the group of players we have at the moment aren't good enough. Behind the scenes isn't good enough. and it has to change next season. So I was happy to hear that, and hopefully we see that in the summer going forward.
Aye, music to my ears, Ali. Music to my ears, because he's done the nicey thing. He's done the professional thing. He's done the protect the players route. He's done it all. He's backed them, and they've left him with egg in his face a wee bit. And this is where myself and Jamie had this kind of debate on WhatsApp today about Clement and where he's at with Rangers. There's no doubt that Clement's a good manager. There's no doubt I'm not going to say he's worked miracles. He's done well at times with this squad, because to get us back into the title race, which he did do, I think was solely down to him. I will say it. I think it was solely down to him. I don't think they were getting back in that title race under the previous management regime or anyone else coming in. I think that was solely down to him. It's a reflection on him as a manager. But he's protected these players all season, even when they really let him down big time in this title race. Just when it started to heat up, they totally proverbial to bed. They lost it, the bottle crashed, whatever term you want to use, and they let him down, they let us down. So I'm glad he's come out, and he's not thrown them under the bus, but he's said what we all know, that this team are not good enough. There needs to be big changes for us to. And I don't like the term. I don't like the saying challenge Celtic or catch Celtic. It's not about challenging or catching them. It's about beating them. We need to beat Celtic. We need to win titles, not title challenge. Win them. So I think that's his mentality, and I think he knows that's the way it has to go. But the proof will be in the pudding, Ali. Unfortunately, my scar tissue is, I've heard talk before, and it might not be down to Clement. Maybe he's got one hand tied. This will be down to whether we can afford to recruit. I'll be looking for big players leaving, Ali, and you know who I'm talking about. I'll be looking for big players leaving or taking a step back to a different type of role at the club for us to change and go forward. And we need a new structure. We need a new, whether it's not 4-3-3 or a different step, we need something new and fresh, Ali, because the predictability of this Rangers team over the past 3-4 years is, a blind man can tell you what Rangers are going to do on the attack and in defence. So he looks as if he's identified it. He's now saying the right things, and he's saying something different in a press conference, which is good, because I'm hoping these players react to that for one last game. They've got it next week, so I'm hoping they react to it.
Yeah, and just before I come on to you there, Jamie, Justin Muir, as always, thank you very much for the kind donation, and God bless America. Jamie, Ryan's made some really good points about what Clement said today. We've been here before. We were here last season with Michael Beale, but Clement, I'm with Clement and what he's saying, and I agree with Ryan. In the summer, if he gets rid of these bigger players, if you want to say that, Ibrox, that have been here for a long time, I mean, I can't get rid of all of them. I understand that, but if he can get rid of all these guys and that the contracts are up, and other guys that have been here for a long time, and build what he wants, I think it could be quite exciting moving forward with Clement.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge statement of intent, and even saying that today, we were talking about it off camera before we came on. It was something actually a lot of us wanted him to say. We wanted someone within the club saying, look, this mob aren't good enough, because we've known it for years. Like it's actually going back to, we needed a refresh after we won the league under Gerrard. Do you know what I mean? What is that, 3-4 seasons ago? So now we have the same leadership group, which we like to talk about, that are there. And really, I'm sorry, is it any surprise that what happened? It's not. That's why going into Saturday just past, we all knew what was going to happen. The writing was on the wall. That's why it's a wee bit easier to take the next day, isn't it? But I just think Clement coming out and saying that will fill a lot of folk with positivity. I know that's it now for a lot of these players that have let us down. But yeah, I think moving forward, I think he needs to stay firm in his opinion on that. I mean, as you say, Ali, like there's still some players there that have got a couple of years. I'm not naming names. That have got a couple of years left on some contracts. So unless a bid comes in for them, unless there's teams want to take them elsewhere, I'm sorry to say that they're probably still going to be there because they're perfectly within their rights to sit tight. I hope that's not the case, because then it won't be the rebuild what we are all wanting to see at the start of next season. But yeah, I think let's wait and see. But on the whole, I think that was it felt like a positive message coming from the gaffer of the day, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, I get you probably couldn't have said it 4, 5, 6 weeks ago because we were, in theory, still in the title race. And
keeping the players on side. He's keeping the players on side, doesn't he?
And he doesn't want to fling them under the bus. And I get what he's doing, but we've got to a point in the season where the league's done. We do have the cup final to go, and he's basically said that these guys aren't up to it. And will that give them a wee rock up the arse for the cup final to maybe prove Clement wrong? I very much doubt it, to be honest. But before we move on to Hearts, Andy Hillis, thank you very much. Much appreciated for the kind donation. And Ben as well, thanks very much too. Again, much appreciated. But yes, we are playing the final game of the league season tomorrow. Thank Christ for that. We are away to Hearts. Hearts have secured third place. They're obviously away on their holidays. Most of their players, our players have been on their holidays for a good few weeks as well. But yes, tomorrow, there's no point really talking about how they've been playing in terms. I know Lawrence Shanklin, I think, got his 30th goal of the season for Hearts during the week. That's some return for Shanklin. Hearts are one of these teams that we've actually done all right against this season. But tomorrow is when, again, Ryan, I think it will be a friendly vibes again. There's not really much to talk about, but if you can pick a team, Ryan, what is your team tomorrow and score?
Oof, are you joking? I don't even know who's fit.
Like paint at wall.
In terms of, I think it'll be an open game. We seem to play Hearts. I feel as if we play Hearts at this time of the season a lot, because the last game of the season. But it'll be an open game. I hope the young boys get a start, if not get at least a half.
Yeah.
So I'd expect Butland to start. Tavernier, Davies. Is Leon King injured?
No, I think so.
He's not.
Don't
Leon
think
King. I'll play the young boy Fraser at left back. I'm hoping he starts, and Ridvan's just kind of maybe left to get 20 minutes. Who else have we got? Where does Cole McKinnon plays here? Kind of right attack midfielder.
Played him at right back, but he plays further up the park as well. So I think he plays in quite a few positions.
I think he's maybe more a winger. I think he's maybe more in the McCausland role. Somebody can maybe correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's where I thought he played.
I'd like to see him start. So I'll throw him in there. Yefeko might get a game if Leon King or Davies doesn't. I don't know whether Davies is going to be able to keep playing because he's always injured, isn't he? Lowry, I'm hoping Lowry gets a game, so I'll stick him in as well, Ali. Who else can we stick in? Kieran Zill. He's not got a lot to choose for. That's the thing.
No, I know.
You're going to see a kind of same-ish team, but I'm hoping the young boys get a start, and I'm hoping Lowry gets some minutes as well. In terms of scoreline, I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers, and I'll go McKinnon to score the first goal. There you go. There's a young lad getting a first goal. So, yeah, I expect goals tomorrow because it will be no pressure on the two of them, friendly vibes. 3-1 Rangers. There you go.
Very positive. Jamie, in terms of players that are out, Suter's out, Goldson's out, Barisic is out, Lawrence is out, Cortez is out, Matondo and Danilo's out. Sima is back in contention, so is Ryan Jack. And Leon Balling is a question mark. So who's your team tomorrow on Scotland?
I'm going to go the same back line as Ryan. I think in the middle of the pitch I'll go for Raskin and Lowry. I think Nico Raskin coming up to the final, I think he needs more minutes in the legs. I think he's looked pretty good, to be fair. I'll go McCausland on the right, and Dezer's up top, and then who's going to play on the left? Well, I think Cantwell will be. I do think he'll start Cantwell because I think he'll want Cantwell to kick on from the other night, keep the performance level high, getting into the Scottish Cup final, and then he'll probably play Silver. Like I just can't wait to see the back of that guy. I seen that. Somebody said on Twitter today, like AC Milan. It was one of the rumour mills going mental that AC Milan were interested in Silver. Like, what is going on, man? Like, how are clubs interested in this guy? He's one of the worst footballers I think I've ever seen in my life, by the way. Like, he's like so bad. Like, see if he was our player, he would be my new hate figure, 100%. But he's a lone player. But you know how everyone has like a player they sort of love to hate. He would be mine, and I would hate him with a real vengeance. Anyway, I digress. I think it's going to be. I'm going to go same. I'm going to go a bit tight. I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers, and then I'm going to actually go my man D9 to score the 2 goals, because you know what's laughable is the fact that they gave Tav top scorer, and the fact that Dezers can actually go, if he scores 2, he can actually go 1 ahead. So does that not just sum up our club and how much of a shambles we are sometimes?
Without penalties.
Yep. There we go.
Yes, and Fabio Silva is not in Jamie's Christmas card list this Christmas. I don't know what he'll do. I think he'll bring a bit of youth in, but I mean, we do have a cup final coming up a week on Saturday, so he still needs to play players in terms of that game coming up. I don't like when we go into these games and just rest players because we've got a cup final coming up. I just still think we need minutes and legs. So I'm going with Butland, Tav, King, Davies. I think the boy Fraser, from what the guys in the comments, will play. Raskin, I think, needs minutes. I thought he was all right, but I still think he needs minutes. So Raskin, Diamande, Cantwell. I think he'll play McCausland on the right because he played well at Dessers, and I think your man, Jamie Silva, I think he'll play again. I don't think he'll go too wild tomorrow. I think a lot of these young boys will come on. I think Lowry will come on, McKinnon will come on. Even players like Ryan Jack, Christ, might even come on. I don't know. And Scott Wright again. I wouldn't start Scott Wright because every time you start Scott Wright, he's no use. He's his best pinging off the bench. And I'm going to go same as Ryan. I think there'll be goals. 3-1 Rangers, and Jamie's man to get a brace. So yes, that is us. Got just past the hour mark. I thought we might struggle to get there, but we got there in the end. But yes, the final game of the season tomorrow in the league. We cannot wait. We have one last major game, which is a week in Saturday in the cup final, but obviously we'll cover that. So yes, I'd like to thank everyone in the comments tonight, the kind donations, Mr. Carney as well, who was in the comments tonight as well. But last but not least, my 2 guests tonight, the ones that are steadying this ship at the moment. Jamie, thank you very much for coming on, and get back out your backyard and enjoy the sun.
Cheers, boys. Yeah, I'm going to get back out there and try and get a tan like Ryan. Try and get that kind of 2-week all-inclusive tan that Ryan seems to have all year round, I think, pretty much. So now, good to see you, lads. Catch up soon.
Yes, and Mr. Haymarch, enjoy your glass of red wine tonight. I know you like a glass of red.
Oh, yes. Don't worry, the bottle is opened before I come up the stairs, Ali, so it's sitting downstairs ready for me. Can't wait for it, boys. That was good to see you enjoyed it. Good to see loads of folk in the chat. Not the last game of the season we wanted, but hey ho, good to see Carney in the chat as well. We'll hopefully catch up with him through the week as well, see how he is. We just got to keep trucking, boys. Got to keep going, haven't we? Cup final to look forward to. We'll try and get a bit of positivity in for that. Surely we can get a decent result and a bit of positivity in for then. But cheers. Well hosted as well, Mr. Pearson. You did well tonight.
Very well hosted.
Ryan. I know you don't like giving me compliments, but I'll take that as a compliment for me.
It's because you never deserve them, Ali. But you know, you've got to try.
No, it was a good show, to be honest. I will be back again. It will be me. Folk will be sick of the sight of me doing post-match reactions, but I will be back tomorrow with a post-match reaction to the Hearts game, and we will also be back next week. We're not doing a Club Deck Corner next week. We will be doing a Club Live for the build-up for the cup final. So, yes, the lads, I will be back tomorrow, as I say, and myself and the lads will be back on Friday to gear up for the cup final. But we have been Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and I will see you tomorrow.